Okay, so this lesson is for 131, and it's yet another book arts project for us. And when you have kids, you are exposed to lots of different things. And if you're teaching art and you are an artist yourself, you're going to get a lot of ideas. I think, in fact, some of the best lesson ideas that I've ever gotten have been just from life. And so in this case, I never actually saw anybody do this with kids, but it's totally doable and they really adore it. It's kind of based a little on the idea of an exquisite corpse, which is a surrealist party game where there was a long strip of paper that was folded and they would pass it from one person to another. And on every single page, someone would draw something, then flip it over so the next person couldn't see what it was, and give them two starting point lines so it would connect with the previous one, and then they would draw something. So it's like a blind drawing, and when you open it all up, it just becomes this very nonsensical thing. Um, uh, they're very often erotic, so you have to be careful if you're ever going to do an exquisite corpse with your class. But this is sort of a little bit based on an exquisite corpse, but not entirely. So this book is called Making Faces by Norman Messenger. And it's quite complicated and very beautiful. It's also double-sided. I am not asking you to do this double-sided. You can if you want. So what we have here are, we have 5 different sections of cutouts. And the point is that you can move to different characters because every page has a different character. So let's go to the last character so you can see the last character. Whoops. Not quite. There's the last character. But you can see there's a whole lot. The noses don't change all that much, but the eyes certainly do. The headgear does. And are you understanding what's going on here? Every single page has the exact same proportions so that this connects. So that's sort of like an exquisite corpse going from here to here to here to here to here. So they all match. So you can move them any which way and get absolutely ridiculous, kind of crazy, inventive solutions. You know, let's have him holding a little cat. You can see the scale changes. Obviously, her hands would not be that small, but hey, it's a fantasy book. And so that's one inspiration. Here's another one. This is different in that it's sideways. It only uses 3. I'm going to kind of let you kind of go which, however you want. There's no like exact way. This is by Alan Benjamin with pictures by Sal Murdoka. Okay, so this book has like a little story to it, but we don't have to worry about it because I think what I just want you to see is that here we've got a head, we have a tail, and we have a body, and they, you know, they do the exact same thing. They go every which way. So when you flip them over, you get new things. And with the story itself changes and makes sense because of how the sentence construction has been done. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a Facebook for yourself. So it could be a body book, could be a Facebook. If you look at the lesson plan, you'll see that I do have some ideas that it could be portraits, just of the face. It could be bodies, imaginary creatures, really anything at all that would have several parts. And we have the standards. I'm thinking 4th grade is probably as young as you'd want to do with this. And here we have our essential questions. This is an interactive book. So how can I make an interactive book? You know, it'll be a very interesting thing because people, this sort of builds on what you did last week with your self-portrait, that where the eyeballs move, in which the students are participating in using the artwork that they're making to do something with. It sort of becomes playful. What are some ways I can use my imagination to create interesting characters? All right, so this has some other concrete things, and probably the biggest of which is using a ruler, because there is a certain amount of measuring done with this, as I will show you. You're going to need oak tag for this, or else the drawing paper. It doesn't have to be oak tag. However, nothing too thin. You wouldn't want to use typing paper because that would not really hold up. I'm going to let you choose the materials you're using. You can use markers, colored pencils, watercolor, Sharpie, whatever you want, crayons, or several of those. And I have the procedure here, which I'm now going to actually do for you, okay, along with the assessment and various variations you could do at the end. And I'm going to post this lesson pen. It's already on your Blackboard, but for anybody else who's not in our class, I'm going to post it on the blog, Art for Teachers of Children.blogspot, as soon as I can figure out their new format, which should be soon. So here are two examples from students in the past. This student just did a very abstracted one. And
excuse me, Professor.
Yes.
Can you move your camera on your right a little bit so we can see it?
What?
Oh, I'm sorry, on your left, on your left, on your left. Your left. Yeah, this way. Yep. A little down more. Put it down a little bit more. Bring it down. A little bit more.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. There you go.
More?
Yep. But on your left.
See, you must be, are you on your phone? Because
yeah, I'm on my phone.
Okay, yeah, because the image I'm getting is fine. Please do tell me if it goes off, So this is sort of an abstract one, and it's Sharpie with colored pencils. So the one thing I would say is every single page, while it looks different, they're all very abstracted. So you know that you might not get the differentiation if you had like a hairy creature or whatever, because they all rather look like they belong quite well with this. But anyway, it was nicely done, and he had a lot of pages in this. I think he's got like 5 or 6 pages in it. That's the last page, and he left that behind. This is from a 6th grader, I believe. So this is an actual young kid who made this. And we have here a 4-part body. And so I guess we'll change the face there. You've got an alien down here. That might be a ghost. I don't really know. Here, let's see what this is. It works best if you really vary the parts. There we go. And try not to get too lazy. You know, sometimes kids get lazy. Now, if you want, you could also do a background. You can do a background like the book, but you know, I'm just really more expecting that you're gonna like be able to figure out how to do this. All right, so let me show you one way of doing it, and you can do it any way you want. Rulers, super important for this. I'm just using regular drawing paper, and the back sheet, which can act as a cover, you can use make a front cover as well. He could have put a cover on the front. Doesn't need to be cut because the back page is fine the way it is. But there's a lot of measuring involved here. That's the one thing. But I find so many kids do not know rulers. So for ease, I'm saying a 3/4 inch sort of flap on the left. So I'll post this on Blackboard for you, but just along the side. And then I thought we would do 5 sections. And then if you don't want to do 5 sections, you can do fewer. The only thing you have to make sure is every single page has to have the same exact measurements this way. And your stopping and ending points have to be exactly the same. So I'll show you because I'm going to make one and then I'll make another one and then you'll see what I'm talking about. So for this first one, and I have these in the lesson plan, this is a 9 by 12 inch sheet of paper. So this is 3 inches. And you know, you have to measure twice. You measure 3 and 3 and make your line. The next line for the eyebrows and eyes is 2. And remember, this ruler has a little bit on the edge that isn't part of the ruler. So I already did my 2 on that side. So this is going to be a 2-inch line. And then, well, we'll decide where the figure is going to end. Then we have 1.5 inches for the nose. This is only a guideline. You do not have to use it this way. You don't have to do so many. You could just do 3 if you want to. I do suggest, though, a piece of paper, a 9 by 12 piece of paper. So it's a substantial size book. You can hold it. You can hold it in your hands. Okay. So what I have is 3 inches, 2 inches, 1.5, 2.5, and 3. And I have all of those in your lesson plan. Now, let's say that I'm going to do my famous cat. Here I did on this edge 1 inch here. That means on all the pages, I'm going to do 1 inch on the very first one, and I did 1 1/4 from here to here. So these two things have to agree on every single page. Now, some people will just do this. They just cut through. Sometimes you get it a little warped that way. I mean, if you would cut through up to there, all the pages, I think it would work fine with an exact knife. Then you wouldn't have to do the measuring. But anyway, I'm going to go down and do the measuring here. So I'm going to get my measurements in a second, because what I want to do here is I'm going to give you a big cat. It's going to end here. See, that's the key. It has to end there, and the next one has to start here. Now, this is for the eyes of this creature. So I'm going to go in further. I'm going to go into like 6 1/4 there. And so then how will I go here? I'll go like somewhere right around here. So this is going to be 1.5. Are you all following me? What I'm doing here? And this is going to be 2 inches here. So I'm talking about from here to here, because every single page has to be the same. Otherwise it won't line up when you do it. I'll show you. I'll do this twice just so you really get it. So then my cat can kind of go down this way. And then we've got the nose, which is going to go in even a little more. Let's go 1 3/4 maybe here. 1 3/4 from here to here. It's going to be a very long, maybe it's going to be a dog. It's going to be a very long cat. And since that one's 2 inches, I'll make this 2 1/4. So here's this point, and then lips into the chin. All right, so now I have some chance to do something like that. And I'm going to make the chin into, let's see, where am I at here? So that's like 1 1/8. And I'll make this side just a little more because it was like that. And then I could probably put an outfit on this little creature. So we could put maybe like a bow tie or something like that here. I can make the nose come down to a tongue maybe. Let's see. All right, so here's my page one. Of course, I would really make it much more interesting than it is, but you know, put some whiskers kind of coming out. All right, now that I have this, and as I say, if you are really expert, you could just cut along there through all of them and then you have it. If you're going to do that, leave a blank sheet at the very end to be a cover so it doesn't fall, you know. I feel like this falls apart a little, so I've taped it. I've taped the back. But here, let me just do another one so I can just show you from scratch. All right, so 3/4 of an inch for our fold. It's gonna fold along there. And you can cover that with paper if you think that the staples are ugly. They are sort of ugly. If you'll see, those staples are kind of ugly. Gluing a nice piece of colored paper over that and the back of it, just around there would be lovely. It would make it look nicer, which is a good thing. Things that look nicer. Okay, so there's my basic edge, and now I'm going to go down 3 and 3, and then I'm going to go down 2 and 2, and then I'm going to go down 1.5. So you just have to be consistent with this. So the measuring, just, you know, really, you'll be driven insane if you let the kids choose their own. So don't let them choose their own. I'm letting you choose your own, but you will be driven insane because everybody's will be different, and it takes a lot of grasping. So if you're teaching this to kids, at least the first one they make, keep it simple and keep it consistent. So everybody's cutoffs are exactly the same. All right. And so everybody's either doing a body or they're doing a face. Okay, so there are my sideways lines. Now I've got to plot. What I'm going to be doing right now is I'm plotting this point here on both of them, this point, and this point, because those are the things that have to match. Okay, so now I'm going to go here, and the first one is 1 inch. So there it is. This one is 1.25. So I'll just do this backwards, and there's that one. So there's that point. This one is 1.5. You know, once you get the first one done, it's really not that difficult. This is 2, 1, 2. This one is 1 3/4. Here's that. And this one, oh, I didn't even write it down. What did I say it is? It's 2 3/8. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2 3/8. That's a good one. You might want to make that easier if you do this with kids. This is 1.25. I don't know, when you're getting into eighths, you're getting into, this is 1 1/8. You're getting into some exotic territory with some kids. Okay, so now I've got, this is basically the shape. So let's say that I want to do, I know what I'm going to do. Some kind of skeletoid thing here. Maybe I'll give him some crazy little hairs growing out of there. And some kind of weird outfit on, like he's a ghost. Okay, so there's my second page. So I would color this all in, make it beautiful. And then let me just fold this. Again, remember paper having a memory. It's always a good idea to kind of give it a nice fold, and your book will work better. I like to do it both directions. Same thing with this. Then I'm going to cut it and I'll show you where we're at. I would do all of the coloring first before I would construct this book. Don't construct the book right away. Get your coloring done. Again, don't use anything that's going to smear. So I would not use oil pastels on this, nor would I use pastels or charcoal-y things. But you could use anything else. I mean, strictly speaking, you could also use collage, a lot of other things. Okay, so now I'm just going to cut up to the spine, and you're gonna have to suspend, like pretend this is beautifully colored, which it's not. And for the moment, I won't bother cutting this one because being in the back, it'll work like it's the back one. When you're all done, you're going to staple it. And then, as I say, if you want to make it gorgeous, you can. There's my stapler. I'm just stapling it now for the sake of showing you how it can change. Okay, so now there I have my cat, but I can move this like that. I can move this like that. You know, I could do this, I could do that, I could do this. And that's only with just 2 pages. So you can kind of go all kinds of ways with it. Now, obviously, if you use your Sharpie marker, you know, it's going to be much more dramatic, you know, so, and coloring it. So, you know, this is still only in the beginning stages. Does anybody have any questions about this?
You have the measurements down in the
They're in the
blackboard?
they're in the lesson plan here.
Okay.
What's not in the lesson plan are the width measurements, because I figure depending on what your image is going to be, you're going to want to change that. But the only thing you have to remember, Teresa, is be consistent on every page. If this line here on the second line is 2 inches here, it's got to be 2 inches on the next page. Otherwise, you won't get that consistent line, see?
Yeah.
So I put these measurements in. If you need to do a private Zoom, I'm very happy to do that with you before you put it all together. But the crucial thing to remember is, I mean, I could give you a sample. I could give you samples of where you might want to plot these, but I kind of thought that might be a little bit too, because some people might want to do more of a figure. Some people might want to make a really big fat animal. So, or people. I mean, it doesn't have to be an animal, people. But oh wait, this is the wrong list. Where is it? Where? I had it out, didn't I? I have it here. It's going to be on page 3. So I have the basic sizes that I used here.
Okay.
Anybody else have a question about where we're headed on this one?
This is due next week?
Yeah, within reason. You know, we're a little behind. We might have to lose one of our projects. I don't know. I think I'm going to stop the taping, and let's do that first.